And that's how we kick off the last act of our World Opera Day. With us, we have Levy Sekgapane joining us from LA in the US, where he's busy working on a new role and his debut in the US. Levy, say hi to everyone watching tonight.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're all well there. I greet you from all the way from Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us tonight.
And thank you for taking time out. You know, I know you're busy with rehearsals back and forth and it's a bit hectic, but thank you for taking time out to celebrate World Opera Day with us today.
No problem.
Everyone who knows you as Don Ramiro in La Cenerentola. They know you as Ernesto in Don Pasquale. Like, they know you as the winner of Belvedere, the winner of Operalia. Outside of the fabulous life that you are living, of the lights, action, and doing what you do best, who is Levy? Who is he? What can you tell us about the guy outside of the stage?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I would say that Levy is a very simple guy who is born in Kronstadt, a very big town. It's not a small town, actually. It's a big town in the Free State in South Africa. So this is a very special town because it's a town that produced a lot of great people, like athletes. You're talking about movie stars. You're talking about singers, politicians. So it's a very I'm very, very proud to come out of this town, and because I'm born there and I was raised there, I have this this grounds me as a person. This is why I stay this simple person. You know, I connect with my friends all the time. Even though I'm traveling all the time, but I'm a guy that laughs a lot. Also, if you can spend some time with me, you'll see that I'm always laughing, or I'm always joking around, and I also like simple things. You know, I'm not so complicated. I watch sports. I watch tennis because I'm a tennis player.
Yeah.
Following football. So to relax, these are the things that I do. I'm a pianist too, so I like to play the pianos. Also, I do Netflix.
Yes.
I'm sitting and chatting with my friends on the phone for hours and hours on WhatsApp, and yeah, this is me. This is me. This is who I am. A simple guy from Kronstadt
in South Africa. Thank you. Tell me, opera. So today is World Opera Day, and we asked you to join us tonight because you're one of South Africa's finest in the genre. You've made us proud. You're an ambassador. You know, you might think that when you walk on stage in LA, you represent yourself or your family, but you represent South Africa as a whole, Africa as a whole. You carry us with you when you go on that stage. So, you know, what better way to end off this beautiful day of World Opera
That's
Day
right.
and celebrate one of South Africa's finest. Now tell me, how did you get into opera? Who introduced you to opera? How were you introduced to opera?
This has become a sentence or a phrase that I hear almost every single day since I've arrived in LA. Because I'm meeting like random people like in the bar
Yes.
or in the restaurant or on the street. Um, and it's a beautiful question actually, because opera is still a niche,
Hmm.
it's still a niche, and so for that reason, there's still a lot of people that don't know about it, that need to follow it. If they meet an opera singer on the street, they're like, oh my god, wow, really? I've never met one before. This happened
Hmm.
so many times to me. And I was like, really? Seriously, you've never met an opera? No, you're the first one. I'm like, wow. Just shows how people.
Yeah.
It's not that people are ignorant, but it's just like it's what opera is in the society.
Yeah.
So I yeah, good question. When I was No, no, wait. First of all, I was born a singer.
Yes.
I was born a singer. I was born in a musical family. My grandparents sang in choirs. My parents sang. My siblings sang, and we always sang together as a family. Especially when in South Africa when it was cold. Like South Africa used to be so cold, like in winter. Oh my God.
And
Now I
and you're
think
from the Free State, so
I'm from the
yes,
Free
it's
State. It was
freezing.
so cold.
The Free
It was
State.
freezing cold, and then we would sit at this around the stove. You remember what those old
Come over.
cold, yeah, coal stove that you throw stones of coal inside,
Hmm.
and you will lit it up, and it was heating up the whole room. It was amazing, and my mother would cook. My grandmother would also cook like for the whole family, and we would sit together around the stove and sing. This was really something. And I think we were Catholic also. I was
Yes.
born Catholic, so we sang hymns, all these songs from Catholic Church, and I understood that, wow, there's this passion about music that I have, and I was pretty young when I noticed this. And I have an older brother who is a musician, and he was already conducting choirs,
Okay.
and he was training young singers at my house, because he was preparing them for. There used to be a Stedford, which was a big school competition.
And
Uh,
it was Dirisanwe at the time.
Tirisan at the time, and he was training all these young singers. They were fantastic, fantastic, and they were coming to my house, and he was teaching them and training their voices, and I was just sitting there like, oh my god. I think I was 10 or 11,
Mm.
something like that. I was very young, and my brother would bring CDs to my house, DVDs. We would listen to the live transmission recordings from the Met, from
Yes.
Metropolitan Opera. We would see all these great hits like with Pavarotti, Domingo, all the greats. I got to learn opera the right way. I have to say I was very lucky because
Hmm.
I had someone that loved it, and my brother and I, we would we would literally sit 3 hours watching an opera, Verdi's Macbeth, watching, and we would be so in the spirit of that performance as if we were there watching live. And I was like, oh my God, wow, great voices. And I was so inspired by this. And when my brother left home, he went to work. He went to go conduct, I think, Bloemfontein classic voices. Also, there was a choir. No,
Yes.
not serenades, but there was another one. Yeah, yeah. Um, and he became their conductor. So he left home, and when he left home, I continued watching these DVDs, listening to
Hmm.
these CDs. When I was cleaning the house or doing the garden, I would play opera really loud, and I would imitate these voices. And my parents were like, "What is he doing, man? this child, wow, oh my God, this thing is rubbing
Oh,
onto him.
yeah.
um, and yeah, and I decided I was a football player at that time. Actually, I was
Okay.
playing football, so I was chasing this dream of becoming a soccer star. So I was, and then I would go to football practice, and then after practice I would go to choir practice.
Hmm.
I also joined a choir at home, and yeah. But then at some point, I think when I turned 15, I decided football or music. I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know. With football, I'm so annoyed because probably I don't make it into the big teams, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, just go with music, and I joined the choir, and I continued with the choir, and I got a scholarship to move to Cape Town to be part of this huge choir called the South African Youth Choir.
Yes.
I was very lucky. They basically gave me everything that I needed to be where I am today. Um, I learned how to play the piano. I learned how to read music. I did everything, and yeah. So I would say that opera found me, and it
In
found me,
constant.
yeah, at the right time when I was confused of what I wanted to be in life. But it's I always tell people also in interviews that I always knew that it was something that I wanted to do, but I was very scared and reluctant to actually go for it. I mean, for instance, I went to university, and when I arrived in university, I became a pianist. I studied piano.
Hmm.
Um, but I think after 2 years of piano, I mean, Kamal said, just
Stop being silly.
you
Just
just
tell me.
sing. It's like sing.
Okay.
So
Uh,
yeah, this what happened. I was really like, I don't know how, because it made me nervous. I was like, how can somebody sing so loud over an orchestra in such a big place with
exactly.
people clapping, and you are like a soloist. You are in front of everybody. Everybody is watching you. You are singing, and you are singing in a language that you don't speak or understand. How can you
Mhm.
do all this stuff? So I was very nervous about it. But then yeah, everything was just history, and everything just kept on, building up, and here we are.
Now, exactly on that point of here we are. How has opera changed or transformed your life? If someone came and asked you, so tell me, this opera that you're telling me about, how has it
Yeah.
changed from your life?
Um, to become an opera singer is, and not just, it's not like you're not an athlete. You're not, your lifestyle is gonna change, of course, because you are doing something much more intimate with yourself, with the people around you, with uh so of course your lifestyle changes. It changes automatically. You suddenly have to watch the food you eat. For some people, for me, I'm not so dramatic about these things. I'm not so superstitious. I, I'm not so dramatic. I'm not yeah, I'm not like, yeah, you gotta drink tea all the time, or oh, watch out for spicy stuff. Oh, these are things that can be, um you don't want to get sick. You don't want to build like acid reflux, all these things. I'm not that dramatic, but of course I can be very careful. But also your lifestyle changes, because then you find yourself being alone all the time, and you get used to being alone all the time. So you respect your space, and you get used to being alone. You know what I mean? So whenever you find yourself alone, you love it, you respect it, and when you are with other people, you want to be alone sometimes. So you can just gather your thoughts, and so your lifestyle really does change. Um, sorry, excuse me. It's in the morning here, so my voice is warming up, and I have a musical rehearsal in 2 hours, so I'm
Oh,
warming up.
my
I'm warming
goodness.
up my voice, but
Okay, cool.
no, in 3 hours. Anyway, um, so your lifestyle changes, and also how you relate with people, how you. I mean, I started to be really serious about it. Like when I'm around people, my behavior changed. Um, Also, like you start to respect the art form. It's not just something like, yeah, it's a sport. Like, you were great and that's it, blah blah blah. But it's much more. It's much higher than what people think it is. It's really high art. Um, so this respect started to develop, and then I started to really see how important it was and how blessed I was to do what I do. And my lifestyle started. It just changed. I study a lot. Like I said, I like to be alone, to think. Um, yeah, if you're constantly thinking, constantly uh, um, trying ways and ways on how you can develop it as an artist. Um, yeah, and I respect that. I like that. Like I like to be alone to discover things and to think and to say, okay, I did Ramiro many times, okay, and each time I try to give something special, and now I'm doing it in the States, and I've got to also think now and really do it as if I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And that's hard, but this is why you've got to be alone, and your lifestyle changes. You're not
So,
always going to go to the parties.
so you literally have to reinvent yourself every time you do that.
Yes, that's it. That's true. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to constantly find something new, because the directors, each you are going to work with different directors. Each director has a different take on the role, on the piece, and you have to forget about what you've done, and allow him to come and bring his ideas, so you can develop from there. So it has changed my life in a way. My lifestyle changed, of course.
Hmm. And also, you travel all the time.
You travel all the time, yeah. So you suddenly you don't have time to speak with people, with your friends. You don't have time to chill at the bar anymore. You can do that when you're home. When you have a couple of days. I like to take walks. I live in Munich. It's such a beautiful city.
Hmm.
The parks are beautiful, so you can really go and speak. Yeah, you take walks with friends and catch up. This is it. But otherwise, you're always on the road.
Now, you have won every competition. And you've given us great and proud moments. You took the Belvedere, which literally set you off too. And then Operalia came. And I saw you were here the other day to play for the tennis, when we did the tennis. And
Yes,
yes,
yes.
now what I'd like to know from you, there's a lot of young people in South Africa that would love to enter Belvedere and win Belvedere, to enter Operalia and win Operalia. What
Yes.
advice do you have? What advice do you have for young singers who want to follow in your footsteps with these competitions?
Hmm. Competitions are not easy. That's the thing, and they are there to help young singers to be known. They are there to give you the exposure that you need to start the business, or to even to get into the business, or I don't know, to make experiences. So, if people can understand that before they go to competitions, they they can really, they can come, they can benefit a lot from them, from the competitions. Like, this is the mentality that I had when I did competitions. I really didn't. I was a young Rossini tenor. I was a young Rossinian tenor who who just wanted to take a chance. And in this last 10 years, these competitions have been won by sopranos, tenors, but lyric tenors, or sometimes baritones, or a mezzo if she's really, really good. But Rossini tenors, not so much.
Mm.
So this is the thing that also for me was like, I don't know if I will make it, but I have this chance, so I'm gonna go.
Mm.
So, but I wanted to go there to just make an experience, and maybe I win something, maybe I don't. You know, it was just for experience. It was just to be heard, to just try out a competition, and maybe because Operalia is huge. It's the biggest one in the world. So to arrive there, you're not just gonna arrive there and sing and win because you had an amazing voice. No, it doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. Um, Operalia is a competition for singers that need the stepping stone to go into the big career, or to go to the high level. But they must have an idea of what it is, what the business is about. That's what Operalia is about. It's a stepping stone. Belvedere is too, but it's one of the smaller ones, which means that you could also be heard by agents to start. You can be heard by theaters, by casting directors. So it can be also a learning curve. If you win it, that's good. Then you probably can start your career again if you have a good agent, and if you find a good agency, or if you're ready. But also you could say, okay, I made this experience. I did Belvedere. Maybe I can do the other one, Neue Stimmen. Okay, before I can go to Operalia. So I have this. So I have this background, and I have this experience. Because Operalia is not only people that have won other competitions; it's people that have been doing the business for years, and they
Hmm.
just didn't have the chances to make that step.
Correct.
So you have to think. You have to bear that in mind. Um, So this is my advice to the young singers trying to sing competitions is that you really have nothing to lose. To think about it, you have nothing to lose. But of course, people want to win. It's all about winning, 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 winning. Yeah, it's okay. You can win something, you can lose something, and you can still have a great career tomorrow. But for others, they can, like me. I was, like I told you, I was a Rossini Tanner who came into the business, and it was a big, big, big business already. And I was thinking, oh wow, this competition, that one. I just wanted to make an experience, and so I won my first. I think I won first three competitions, and then I decided to to go away, to join an opera studio where I could study, learn new roles, learn
Hmm.
languages. That's what I did. Uh, and that helped me a lot because after when I finished the opera studio, I was ready to go into the big theaters, and it happened exactly that way. After I did just 1 year of opera studio, and then I went into the big theaters. I think I sang a season or two,
Hmm.
and then I went for operalia. So you see, I I really worked it out the way it worked out the right way, and for me. But you gotta have a plan also, which is, yeah, if you go to competitions, you have to have a plan. What do you want out of the competition? You want to win, okay, and then what next?
And then,
And then
and then.
many people have won, and what happened after that was, it's not easy. The business, many people have won these competitions, and still they are still struggling to break through. So, uh, yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
if
you, sorry, you
I mean,
mentioned yourself being a Rossini tenor and a lyric tenor. How important is it for one to know exactly who they are in this business in terms of
That's a good
your
question.
voice type?
Very good question. Very good question. Um, you see, I accepted it already at that time that I was because my voice was already pretty high, and I was already in this bel canto style, and I was already technically I was pretty tight and fit, for this repertoire. So and everybody said to me, "You are so light. Your voice is so light. It's so bright. You are a Rossinian tenor. This is it." And yeah, um, so it's very important to know who you are before you go, because if you are still confused, mm, you're going to get problems ahead, because there's you know this whole thing of specializing, or like like in repertoire, it's starting to play a big part in the business now.
Mm-hmm.
But also like now the business just changed because of COVID, so
Yes.
everybody wants work. So you find people going venturing into repertoires that they that is not theirs, but it's only
Mm-hmm.
because they only because they there's no work. So everybody's trying to make it, trying to take the
Yes.
chances. Opportunity, when the door opens, who gets there first gets the chance. So um, I would. It's obviously it's very important to be a complete artist. Being a complete artist means that you know who you are, and you know what voice you are, you know what repertoire you want to sing. Um, so you don't confuse people. People in the business, and our business is like this. People don't want to be stressed. People don't want to be really, they don't want to be given, they don't want to suffer. If you come, you stand, what are you? I'm a variant tenor. Okay, great. Sing this aria. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, I need a tenor in Traviata. If you are great, you get the job. If you come there, so what are you? I don't know what I am. But I like to sing everything. Or yeah, this happens too. It's nothing, there's nothing wrong about it. But also,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you are good at everything, there are a lot of singers that are like this. They don't specialize, but they are good at everything. They are really
Yes.
good at every repertoire. Um, you still have to prove yourself, but it's just it works better when you know what repertoire you want to do and what you want to do, so you don't make people nervous. You just come, so they can know where to cast you. You see, they know where to place you.
So it's safe to say, know who you are first, enter the competition, and then after you've won or not won the competition, what is the end goal? That is how
what
I would summarize
that,
it.
that is what is the end goal. What do you want from the competitions? You only go to the competitions because you want something out of it.
Correct.
You want to make a big career. Okay, that's good. So then you go to the competition. If you don't make it, you keep trying. If it doesn't work, you try other things. You have to keep trying. It's Of course, we don't have time in our business, because time goes faster and faster, faster. The younger you are, the more chances you have. But also, for other repertoires, like if you go into Wagner, Verdi, like all these other big repertoire, it's important that you grow into those things. So you still have time. But it's important to know who you are and what you
Okay.
want to do.
Now let's talk about your career highlights. I'm sure you don't have one or two or three. What are your career highlights?
I can't even remember any of them.
Okay, let's try and find something. So if you're waking up at night and someone said to you, Levy, what is your career highlight? The one thing you say, hey, this one, hey, I never thought, and guess what? It happened.
um. Oh wow, there's so many. Hmm. Oh, one of them is that we grew up seeing the royal family in England on TV, and we
Mm-hmm.
saw the death of Princess Diana. We saw Prince Charles there. We saw the babies, and and one time, like I sing Bow of Seville in England in Glyndebourne Festival,
Yes.
and in the last performance of the closing show, they told us, "Oh, Prince Charles is coming, and he will watch the show, and after the show, he will meet you guys. We have a small party." And we were like, "What? Really? Oh my God!"
Which Prince Charles?
The Queen's firstborn.
Hey,
So, we were like, "Oh my God, really? The Prince of Wales is coming? Yeah, yeah, the Prince of Wales is coming." And the security in Glyndebourne that day was so tight; it was incredible. Like,
mm.
we felt nervous just being, we always go to the theater and you do your routine, you get into costume. But on this day, there was so much traffic that went on and on and on and on. So it was not easy to get into the theater. But it was a big moment. And after the show, the prince was there and he met all of us. And, we always learned about this etiquette, like how to behave around the
What the
monarch.
fuck?
Uh, and yeah, don't do this, or be careful. You have to say your majesty, or you have to, and then I arrived late in the party, I think, because after the show I would like to take my time to take off the makeup, wash myself a bit, and so I take time. And I arrived in the party a bit late, and he was there. He was, oh, I walk in, and um and he's like, oh, there is the man of the moment. I was like,
Who?
the prince, Prince
Yeah,
Charles.
I guess.
And then he's like, I'm like, Your Majesty. He's like, mate, come on, stop this thing. You were amazing. And he starts to give me a hug like this. I'm like, wow. And he was so easy,
Mm.
Um, and that was special. That was so special. And we spoke. He took me around to meet some friends and some people. Um, we spoke about our country. And he spoke about our president and what was happening. And we spoke about the death of Madiba. He was here and he told me all the stories, what happened when they were there. So it was it was an unreal moment. Yeah, and yeah, there's so many moments that
Y- before we started this conversation, you in LA, Los
yes.
Angeles,
Uh-huh.
and I was saying to you, when we were growing up, and all we saw was LA on every movie, and guess
Mm-hmm.
where you are right now?
Just 2 seconds. I have been struggling a lot this past week because if I can fly long hours,
Hmm.
I get really, really sick. Like I get blocked, and so it's been very difficult this past week to, yeah,
But
just hold
but
strong.
how's it going? Is it getting better?
It's getting much better now. So every now and then I have to go away and blow my nose. Anyway, yeah, you spoke about LA. You asked me about
Hmm.
LA.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's really crazy, right? Because like we always saw it on TV and in the
Hmm.
movies, but it's right here. Hollywood is right here, right next to me. Uh, I haven't seen much yet because I've been indoors and I've been rehearsing and I'm trying to just pass to get a hang of the time difference. And I'll start to do some traveling next week, and I want to go to the Hollywood, the Wall of Fame, and I want to go to the movie studios like Universal Studios. They are all here, so it's incredible. It's amazing. It was an unreal moment, I was thinking because like also I sing opera, they of course there's LA Opera here, but also to to sing there, it's to sing opera in LA. It's like
Exactly.
wow. And
You're
I
part
was
of the movie
thinking,
star.
I wish.
you you in LA. Where else do they make movie stars? You are right there. I'm sure the next one is gonna be in a movie, doing a role there, an opera role in a movie. You watch the space.
Wow, I
Um,
receive it. I receive this. I receive it.
it's all yours. Take it and run. Listen. So before I let you go, thank you. By the way, everyone. Levy has just arrived in the US. He's in rehearsals, and I mean, he said earlier on that I'm sure now it's in the next 2 hours he's going for a singing rehearsal, and he took time out to talk to us for World Opera Day, and as we celebrate World Opera Day in South Africa, what better way to celebrate one of our own who's an ambassador for our country? And before I let you go, Levy, I have just one question. If you had to go back to Kronstadt just before you turned 15, at 15 you decided, I'll do this, but just before you turned 15, when you were 14 in Kronstadt, the big town in the Free State, and you met yourself at 14,
Yeah.
you're walking down the street and you met yourself, and you had to tell yourself one thing, one word of advice, something that you know now that you didn't know then that could help 14-year-old Levy, what would you tell him?
Wow. It's very interesting, because I always believed in something, and I always believed that if I played football, I would have made it. I always believed this, that, and you see the same passion I had and the same hunger and the belief and determination, I took it to music. Um, and I remember exactly when I was 14, I already started to imagine my life, and man, I want to go there, I want to do this. So when I arrived home, I always told my mother that I'm gonna go away soon. She was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I'm gonna go away very soon, and you will see. So just watch the space." She's like, "You are crazy. You are young." And I kept on every time on the streets, even when I was walking, because it was also difficult. It was so difficult. I didn't grow up. I don't come from a rich family or anything like that. So these things, this struggle, and being raised in poverty, all this stuff was not easy. It was the thing that pushed me even more to work harder to arrive. And today I look back and I'm like, oh man, wow, this happened, and this push, it happened the same way, and wow,
So in one
wow.
line, what would you tell yourself today? One line. 14-year-old you. What would you say?
Hmm.
So imagine yourself, there you are, 14-year-old. And then you came back from LA and you met 14-year-old you. What would you tell him?
Yeah, that's wow. That's yeah. I would say, hey, Livy, never stop believing. It is possible, but the only person that is going to get in the way of this dream that you have in front of you is you, not people. It's all about attitude. You've got to have an attitude that only you can stop yourself from reaching your dreams. Only you. Of course, people are gonna come, but it's about the attitude.
Thank you. Thank you for a beautiful conversation. Thank you for agreeing to sit with us today. And thank you for being an ambassador of South Africa, for being a role model to a lot of young people, for giving young Levies around South Africa something to look forward to, something to look up to. I think when you've got something that you can hold on to and look up to, I think the world becomes a better place. So thank you for that. And, you know, we wish you all the best with the role you're going to be performing soon in LA. And may you
Thank
raise
you.
that flag even higher. And may you go and be a movie star that sings opera.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you for having me, and congratulations for your new appointment and your task. So
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the
Thank you.
best with it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. We'll chat later. And everyone, that was Levy Sekgapane. And thank you for joining us tonight. And happy World Opera Day. Good night.